My aha moment using Doc, I remember the exact client. It was a hospitality group here in Texas where, you could see that so-and-so opened the resources page to look at the listing errors. And then they watched the tour walkthrough and then they forwarded it to somebody else, I assume, because another email came in and was clicking around. And so it is really helpful to see that type of activity and also gauge, right? Are they interested? Are they not? It kind of answers that question for me too when I'm like, hey, did you look at the links I sent over? Well, if you didn't open the doc, I know that you didn't. I'm Helen with Marqii. I'm part of our mid-market sales team. My job is to help our larger hospitality groups and franchises be found online through easy-to-use listings, menu, and review management. We use Doc on the sales and proposal side, as well as on the onboarding side, especially with more of our larger clients, to just help make sure it's a really smooth transition process. I'm typically talking to the hospitality group or a franchise group, anywhere from 50, 75 locations up to 1,000 locations. As far as my sales cycle goes, it's definitely on the longer side. It's definitely about really building that relationship and understanding first how they work and then what they need help with. I am typically selling to CMOs, CEOs, COOs. Every franchise has a different type of structure. If the marketing team understands why they need it, but operations has never heard of listing management, but we need part of operations budget to make this happen, then we need to get all of those people in the room. And that can be kind of difficult sometimes. I've had some people where it takes a month and a half to schedule a meeting with the right people. And so anything we can do to speed up that cycle is definitely helpful. When I'm trying to get, say, someone in the marketing team to help sell internally to operations or the CEO or justify it to procurement, I am a big fan of putting together resources. I want you to have this information because it is going to improve your restaurant's presence online. So when my team first started using Doc, I was most excited about the ease of follow-up. One of the things I like to do, whether it's on an initial discovery call or even if I've met someone at a conference or trade show, I will say, hey, I'm going to send you a Doc workspace that has XYZ in it. All you have to do is put in your email address. It's not going to create an account for you or anything, but you'll be able to see everything we're talking about in one spot. And I would say probably 9 out of 10 people I send a Doc to do actually open it at least once. Every once in a while, you have that person who just never opens it, never clicks on it. But that's also helpful too, right? Because if they're not really engaged, I know that maybe I'm not going to spend as much time on that lead. On the flip side, when someone is really clicking around, when I can see the CMO has forwarded it to the COO and there's some new person clicking around in there too, that is a signal to me that that person's actually really engaged. I'm the type of person who I used to have an email with 10 bullet points and maybe 2 or 3 attachments, or, put stuff into a PowerPoint presentation and send that off in an email. And yeah, stuff gets lost. I was really excited about using Doc because I would have this place that I could put all of the information that we had talked about, all of the resources. I could customize what was important to people and what wasn't important to people. You're able to put in not just text. It's not just a bullet point in an email, but I can drop in a picture. I can put in a link, make it really visual and easy to click on. And then it's all just in one spot. Because especially in the longer sales cycles, if there's a month or 2 or 3 in between meetings, it's really helpful to be able to refer back to that one page and say, hey, yeah, here's everything we talked about. Once a prospect is ready to become a client and they're signing on with us, we typically share that Doc with our account management team that handles the onboarding. Before Doc, there was no process. Depending on the sales rep, our onboarding team may or may not get as much information as they could. It is really helpful to have one place for the information that's also easy to read. For anyone who's ever logged into Salesforce and seen all of the different fields, you kind of get what I'm talking about. If it can be a little bit overwhelming if the information's not where you're expecting it or in the right format. With Doc, it's really easy because we're all in the same workspace. So even if I forget to pass along a note, our onboarding and account management team can still go back and reference the initial Doc and see those error messages or see those, different inconsistencies that we talked about and sold the client on. Marqii has always had a really low churn rate. Every month we send out customer surveys and it's almost always 100% satisfaction. We take a ton of pride in our customer service. Every client I've signed on in the last year has gotten a Doc. When you are able to transition those notes and they're able to fix those things right away and deliver that to a customer, we know we did a good job. And sometimes we do go back and reference those things for this used to be your rating on Google, and by changing how you've responded to your reviews, you've gone from a 3.8 to a 4.1 star rating on Google. And so those are the types of things that we ultimately look for our client to show them some of the success. It's really helpful to go back and have kind of those archives of what the initial pain points were and what we can do for them now.